Good evening to you. Welcome. It's Late Night Talk right here on Facebook, on my page at Kofi Bartels. I'm glad to know you're there watching us. I'm so glad to be here. I have a guest already on the line, and she's joining me all the way from the city of Accra in Ghana. And if you looked at the post we put up online, you'd see that we're looking today at the Ghanaian story, the Ghanaian situation right now, also comparing it to what is happening around Africa and in Nigeria as well. It's not enough for us to, talk about our situation here. We can also compare with what is happening in other parts of the world. I was going through the NCDC Twitter thread yesterday, and I noticed that one of the people who responded to the NCDC's Twitter thread captured the picture of the updates by the Ghanaian president and also the update by the Ghanaian authorities as to the number of people that had been tested in Ghana, and said to the NCDC, you have to do better as far as testing is concerned. So we will go straight to Accra, where we have from STARR FM a very dear ATIWEIN MBILLAH. ATIWEIN, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Kofi, and good evening to you too.
Yes, apologies for the long introduction. It happens. Okay, so how are things in Accra, Ghana? How is the mood right now as regards the coronavirus, as regards the pandemic, as regards government's decision recently? What's going on in Ghana?
Well, Kofi, what's currently happening is that we have 1,154 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Ghana. The good news is that we have 120 recoveries, so our recovery rate is looking very good. Now, for the past 3 weeks, we were on lockdown in the Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi as well. But on Sunday, the president announced that the partial lockdown had been lifted, and so that wouldn't be happening anymore. However, we would have to ensure social distancing. There's still a ban on all public gatherings, churches, schools, funerals, all that cannot happen during this time. So currently that's the situation. People are, the feeling was quite mixed when the president announced that the lockdown had been lifted. Of course, you find traders being very, very excited because they had lost their livelihoods, though the government had put in some intervention strategies to ensure that these traders get some form of assistance and food and the likes. But then you had some analysts saying that it was too early, especially bearing in mind that at the time the president announced the lockdown had been lifted, we had crossed the 1,000 mark. Now, something that you need to note is that we recorded our first 2 cases
Okay.
this year. And as of today, the latest information we're getting is that we have 1,152 cases. So
1,100 and
54 cases.
wow. What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Please go on.
Yes, and so it just looks. The fact is that in under 2 months we have crossed the 1,000 mark, and also something that we also need to note is that majority of our cases are from persons who have no travel history established.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the figure at the moment is 82% have no travel history established yet, and only 18% have known travel history. And so that's generally the situation.
Interesting. What is responsible for the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, announcing that the lockdown in parts of Ghana was going to be, suspended for now? What's the reasoning behind this?
The reason for the lifting of the lockdown?
Yes.
Well, the president said that we have been able to identify a number of, essentially we've been able to find out really the causes, and we're doing a lot of testing, and so to a large extent we have the virus under control, and so we can afford to lift the lockdown. We're not at the point where we're chasing the virus, because we've been doing a lot of testing. We have over 80,000 tests conducted. And so if these are figures that we're getting, and we've been able to do some research into the strain of the virus that's currently in the country to enable us with contact tracing and the like, as far as it's concerned, we have reached the point where we can lift the lockdown. Also bearing in mind the hardship that the lockdown had on persons who earn a daily wage, or those who work for themselves and don't have savings, somewhere that they can access to assist themselves and their families. That was part of the reason why the president decided that now was the time to lift the lockdown.
Okay. So how are Ghanaians reacting to this? Do some of them feel it's a bit too early to have such a relaxation of the lockdown, in parts of Accra? We hear, we have the Accra metropolitan area, Kumasi metropolitan area, if I'm not mistaken. So what are Ghanaians saying about this move? Are they happy to get back to work or back on the streets?
Yes, I'm not happy. The ones who are going to be able to earn their livelihoods, others are very cautious. The general thing, Kofi, is that many see this as a huge gamble, and only time will tell whether the decision was a right one or a disaster. And so as the days go on, we will be able to know what the situation is. If the figures eventually do start to fall or plateauing, then we know that it was the right decision. But we have a spike in the number of cases. The president did mention that in that event, when the areas that we have identified as having the spike in cases, they will have curfews or lockdowns imposed on those areas. So any time will. Also, something that the president did say when he addressed the nation on Sunday was that the fact that everybody should wear a mask going forward. So as I'm speaking to you, Kofi, I'm wearing a mask. But you can hear me clearly, can't you? Which means that it's certainly possible to go about your daily activities wearing masks and broadcasting while you wear masks, and the listeners can hear you loud and clear.
I see. I see. I'm not wearing a mask where I am, though.
Well, you need to try and get one.
Mine is in my car. Once I step out of here, I'll wear. But this is quite interesting. What about the level of testing in Ghana? I saw a figure online, but I need you to help me confirm, about 68,000. Am I correct? How many Ghanaians have been tested, or how many people?
It's more than 68,000. The president spoke briefly yesterday. He mentioned that the figure is actually exceeding 80,000.
How much?
So over 80,000. Over
80,000.
Yes, over 80,000.
Wow. This is quite amazing, because over here the debate in Nigeria has been about testing, and all of Nigerians have complained that the testing is not going as fast as they'd like it to go. Would you like to guess how many Nigerians have been tested?
Pardon me?
Just over 8,000.
Yes, ours is over 80,000.
Wow. Okay. Just to confirm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are you confident? I mean, looking at observing what's happening, have been able to on let me say the curve has been flattened or is about to be flattened.
Because the only time we tell whether the curve is going to flatten or not. The greatest challenge we have at the moment is social distancing, because in some parts, at the Kumasi Central Market, for example, on Monday, that was the lifting of the lockdown effect. Hundreds of people flooded the market, and as a matter of fact, they have to shut the market down in order to distancing. That is our greatest challenge at the moment. We had the STC, the State Transport Company, telling us today that social distancing will be difficult for them because if they ensure social distancing in their buses, then they are not going to be able to break even. So they are asking all passengers to wear masks, to wash their hands. They will take those precautionary measures, but social distancing is going to be a difficult challenge for them. So that is going to be our major challenge, social distancing, because people are trying. You find that they find themselves in positions where they are not able to do that. But it's good to note as well that a lot of supermarkets that you go to, they are practicing very, very good social distancing. Some of them will only allow a maximum of 25 people in at one time.
Wow. Okay.
So that's definitely very, very good. You find that the hawkers on the streets, a lot of them were wearing masks and the like, but definitely social distancing is going to be one of our major challenges because of the market areas and because of public transportation as well. Because the challenge here is that if the public transport providers are not able to load as many in a car, then where are they going to make up the extra money? And so some of them have started hiking their prices. But as they hike their prices, people are complaining that it's too expensive for them. And so you have the transport operators essentially asking that not hiking prices. But then how are they going to break even in that case? You see? So that's the problem at the moment.
Okay, interesting. I can imagine the trotros in Accra and Kumasi right now. We hear that the Ghanaian authorities are begun using drones for their testing. I saw an article in the Time magazine of all places, and this is the title of the article in the Time magazine, which was put about 5 hours ago. Says drones are delivering COVID-19 tests in Ghana. Could the US be next? And I was like, oh my God, Africa. What's up with that?
Well, what happened is we had the drone system, I think, last year. It's been about a year it's been working. And what's happening is the drones will be assisting, the drones are essentially for blood and other essential services. But at this moment, we are in a crisis situation. So, for instance, for COVID-19, so they're going to be helping with test kits and, samples and those kinds of things. So it's very, very, it's expected to be very, very efficient in how we're going to be able to transport things across the country. As you know, Ghana is quite, it's not a large country when you compare it to Nigeria. I don't think any other country can be compared to Nigeria, really. But when you look at the length of Ghana, it's quite vast. And so, happening and, you cut out a lot of aspects that could just make it a very slow process. So the drones are definitely working.
Okay. I have a message here on Facebook by one of those who are watching right now. Ogbo Minister Prosper says, Ghana is playing politics with it. The opposition party there is trying to take advantage of this to instigate the people against the sitting government, sources from someone living in Ghana. Is there any truth to this, ATIWEIN, as far as you can tell?
Honestly, Kofi, that is not what I have seen. To be honest, it's been on the ground and everything. There's very little politics.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, because we are in a crisis situation. We have the opposition leader, John Mahama. He's been going on several, homes to donate PPEs, and he's been at hospitals and households and the like, just trying to assist as many people, giving them food, PPEs, sanitizers, educating them on what they should and should not be doing. There's been very little when it comes to politics. Of course, you have one or two comments, but in general, bear in mind that we are voting this year, all things being equal. The 7th of December is when we're supposed to vote. At this time, we're ending April to be okay to assist, provide PPEs and food to persons who need it. Very little is ongoing. And we don't discuss it on the areas as well. On the areas, we are discussing COVID-19. Literally, it has come to that point where our listeners can predict what we're going to talk about, because we're all trying to push the COVID-19 agenda. And any politics who is trying to play politics at this time is likely to fall then what are you going to do for dead people? If you put politics before what's happening right now, you're not going to get me, bench to what's happening at the moment, because we're all focusing on COVID-19 and how we can ensure that we come out of this stronger and better.
Interesting. All right, ATIWEIN, I'd like to thank you. Nigerians are asking, themselves, shouldn't we in Nigeria also relax our lockdown a bit, especially in the commercial capital of Lagos and the federal capital of Abuja. Yes, and the move by the Ghanaian government will increase those voices and those questions. Also looking at what's happening in the United States, where the debate is really on as to relaxing these measures. But I want to thank you very much for your time. We'll be watching the events as they unfold in Accra, as we are watching events unfold in other parts of Africa and the world. But thank you very much, ATIWEIN BIEYE of STARR FM in Accra, Ghana. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kofi, and stay safe.
Thank you very much, ATIWEIN. Stay safe too.
Okay.
Okay, my people, there you have it. We spoke to her for 16 minutes, 49 seconds. I'd like you to call if you're listening right now, and you can, be a part of our conversation. 080-620-99556. 080-620-99556. And I'll be very glad to hear from you. All right, call 080-620-99556. The lady we just spoke to is one of the top journalists in Ghana. She's an award-winning broadcast journalist, and her name is ATIWEIN MBILLAH. And she spoke to us live from Accra, the capital of Ghana, where the Ghanaian government has lifted the lockdown order earlier issued to Ghanaians, and basically saying that from 1 a.m. Ghanaians can go out to wherever they want to go. But, of course, the shutdown of schools and other institutions and places where you have crowds gathering remains in place. But the lockdown in Ghana has been lifted. So, based on what's happened in Ghana, based on what's happening in the United States of America, where the debate over lockdown or no lockdown is on, we're asking you, do you or would you like to see a lifting of the lockdown in Nigeria? We have lockdown in Lagos. We have federally imposed lockdown in Abuja. We have federally imposed lockdown in Edo State, for instance. They had a lockdown or shutdown, whatever you want to call it, restriction of movement. In Akwa Ibom State, they had a lockdown. People were not allowed to go out. But, as to whether it's working in these parts of the country, your guess is as good as mine. You want to participate right now, you can drop your message, or you can also you can call. We'll be having a guest next, and this is a medical doctor who'll be joining us. So before this medical doctor joins us, I also want to go over some of the issues being raised in Nigeria as we speak. Of course, the Ghanaians, as you heard, they have tested at least 80,000 people. And yesterday I was going through the tweet of NCDC, live tweet, as the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 was giving the press conference, the daily update. Where you have a Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, and you have, the Minister of Health and other officials, every day. Even Lai Mohammed and co. always go there. So I was going through the tweet, and, the latest figure and the latest statistics as far as Nigeria's COVID-19 is concerned was put up. And someone asked a question on Twitter. The person said, what about testing? And the administrator of the Twitter handle said, go to our website. We have all the details there. And the person went there and screen grabbed the information from the website. Screen grabbed the information from the website. And what did they see? What did the person see? Or what did we see? Person came back and said that it was totally disgraceful that, Nigeria, which happens to be a country with, with at least 200 million people, could only test, guess what, 8,000 people. 8,000 people. So not up to 9,000 Nigerians have been tested. Not up to 9,000 Nigerians have been tested. And this will be forming the crux of our conversation with our next guest, who happens to be a medical doctor. His name is Dr. BIEYE. So we'll take a short break. And when we come back, we'll be looking at testing. The importance of testing as far as Nigeria's fight against COVID-19 is concerned. And why we are having low figures compared to, other countries. For instance, in the UK, their target is to test 100,000 people a day. In the UK, their target is to test 100,000 people a day. And here, look at. Let me just go through the figures for you. In Nigeria, right now, according to the NCDC, total samples tested 8,934. This was put up yesterday. And they only tested 347 in the previous 24 hours. In Lagos State, all of you were jubilating that in Lagos State, they went 24 hours without, what do they call it, a COVID-19 case. They went 24 hours. I even saw a story in the Punch by the Commissioner for Health, Lagos State. His name is Professor ACCRA. This was the headline. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the headline. No new coronavirus case in 24 hours. No new coronavirus case in 24 hours. This is in Lagos State. And people were jubilating. People were celebrating. Hey! And then when we had 59 new cases, people started saying, oh my God, what's going on? Why is this thing like this now? And someone said, maybe the reason after that spike of 70, maybe the reason that there was one day, 24 hours went without a new case was because there was no testing, or they had not done as many tests as they did to get the 70, which is not impossible. So they were celebrating. Look at the figures. Look at. 8,934 in a country as big as Nigeria. This is not good enough. If you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, the NCDC, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, suspended testing in Kano State at the COVID-19 test center there. They suspended testing at the COVID-19 test center in Kano. Don't forget, Kano experienced a hike in the coronavirus positive test, a surge. And there was a headline in the papers, Kano surge, COVID-19, Kano surge, worries FG, Ganduje begs for help. And now, the next thing we hear, they're suspending testing. So, before you start jubilating, before you start celebrating, ask yourself, how many people are being tested? In River State, where I'm reaching you from, and most of you, BRIGGS, and we'll be back on the other side to continue. Please.
I'm sure you have all followed the developments around the world and home, the danger that COVID-19 poses to our health and our wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 has claimed the lives of several Nigerians, and the PTF sincerely condoles with all families that have lost loved ones to this virus. Every life is precious to us, and every loss challenges the efforts we have put into this fight, while demanding that we do more in our response. On the 17th of April 2020, we lost the Chief of Staff to the President, Mala Abakari. He was fully committed to ensuring Nigeria responded effectively to the challenge of COVID-19, and he died in the line of duty. We will always remember his robust efforts, his dedication, and an unwavering commitment to strengthening Nigeria's capacity to manage the impact of this pandemic. This development has renewed.
Okay, welcome back. It's still Late Night Talk with Kofi Bartels. I'm asking you two questions. Do you, first of all, we started by talking with ATIWEIN MBILLAH, a broadcast journalist with STARR FM in Accra, Ghana, and she gave us a lowdown of what was going on in that country as the president of Ghana announced the lifting or suspension of the lockdown in Ghana. Now, we're moving on. We have another guest on the line. He's a medical doctor, and he joins us in Port Harcourt. His name is Dr. BIEYE Briggs. He is of the Ignatius Juru University of Education. Dr. Briggs, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kofi. Thank you, everybody live.
Thank you very much. Dr. Briggs, talking about testing, Nigeria currently has tested only 8,934 samples. Some may not understand when we say only, but I know you understand even better than I do. What is your reaction to this?
Well, you can't do more than what you have capacity for. It just tells us the state of the health facilities, the health system generally in Nigeria. Recall when the COVID-19 started in Nigeria, Boss Mustafa, the SGF, said he was shocked. He never knew that the health system in Nigeria was as it is right now. So right now, it is now they are trying to build capacity. They are trying to set up testing centers. They are trying to get testing kits. They are trying to train manpower, employ manpower. Recently, I heard they are trying to call back those that have retired recently back to service with a view to increasing manpower, training and retraining, and getting facilities and equipment and expanding. Of course, decentralizing it. Before now, we had about only 4 molecular labs in Nigeria, one in Irua, 2 I think in Lagos, and one in, I don't know, but right now they're expanding. Even Lagos, Kanu just started testing just about last week. So that will explain why the testing has been slow, because we didn't have the capacity, we didn't have the infrastructure on ground. It is now that they are trying to put things on ground. So I believe going forward, the testing, the number of tests conducted will increase. You would agree with me, the DG of NCDC said that within the first 2-3 weeks or so, they were able to test about 500 samples per day. But right now, they scaled up to 1,500.
Okay, so sorry, can you repeat that? They were able to test how many samples per day?
Before, when the COVID-19 was first discovered in Nigeria, they had the capacity to test 500 samples per day.
Wow, that's impressive.
According to the DG NCDC, he said they are trying to scale up to 1,500 per day. But even if, let's assume that they've been testing 1,500 per day, it means that in 10 days they would have tested 15,000. So you see that sometimes the figures they give us, I really don't trust them, to do what they say.
Okay, so I want to get the mathematics of what you're talking about. Well, now you're saying in the early days of COVID-19 testing, we have capacity to test 500 samples per day.
Yes, according to the DG NCDC.
In all the testing facilities, 3, I think we had 3 at the time in Nigeria. Okay, for 30 days.
We are still looking around
8,000. Yes.
8,000.
So is it that they're
not true?
Come again.
It's not true.
Okay.
So if it now comes up on air to say that they've scaled up, they've increased their capacity to test, and they are now testing about 8,500 suspected cases per day. It means that in 10 days they should have tested 15,000. In 20 days they should have tested 30,000.
Okay.
So, but we're not. But the truth is that we had a collapsed health system. So right now they are trying to scale up. We believe they will. They are working on establishing a molecular lab in River State. So when they do that,
is this the federal government, state government, or who?
The federal government, the NCDC.
Okay,
they are working with University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital to establish a molecular lab there, so that testing can be done in River State. But as we speak today, any suspected case, sample has to be sent to Irua in Edo State, and it takes about 6 days for the sample to be sent back, either positive or negative. So these are the issues.
That's a lot.
So for like when you are talking to the Ghanaian Nigerian presenter.
Yes.
For a country with a population of 200 million, and in over a month you've tested just roughly 8,000 persons. Ghana is about 1/5 in terms of population, the 1/5 the size of Nigeria.
Yes. Very true.
Okay, and they've tested over 80,000 tests have been conducted. So you see, you don't compare. Something is all right. It's because we had nothing, and you can't build something on nothing and expect it to stand. So it's now they are beginning to build.
So what do you think? What do you think is the problem? Because we have all this money being donated to our authorities by philanthropic Nigerians. We have a lot of money being pumped into isolation centers in Lagos, in other parts of the country. People are just coming out to help. What do you think is responsible for this current situation of low testing?
Inability to test.
Yes.
Now you must understand that it's a global pandemic. When we use the word pandemic, it means it's worldwide. An outbreak is just limited to a specific geographical location. Yeah, but this is a pandemic. It means that the resources needed for the testing is scarce. Everybody needs it.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so everybody needs these testing kits, the reagents used for the testing. The world needs it. So it's not only Nigeria. So how many can you have access to procure, to do your testing as much as you want? These are the challenges. And of course, some people believe, or some people allege, that even at this critical time, that monies are still finding its way to private pockets and all that. So when monies are made available for procurement of these testing kits and to upgrade facilities, not all of them are deployed for the purposes for which they were released. So these are the issues. This is Nigeria. We have that peculiar problem of corruption. So I'm just trying to. I'm not very certain of what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to look at the possible reasons why if the DG will come up to tell us that we have the capacity to test 1,500 suspected cases per day, and we're not achieving that, because since he said that it's about 2 weeks or more now, so if we are testing 1,500 in 2 weeks, we should have tested about 18,000 samples. Okay, but that's not happening. So I'm trying to think out.
So it means
we don't have access to the testing kits. Maybe the funds that are being released to procure the testing kits are also not fully utilized. They're also finding their way to private pockets and all that. Maybe that's the reason. But I believe that going forward, if we begin to increase our testing capacity and abilities, we'll begin to see the figures truly rising. But as I speak to you now, I suspect almost 100% that we have a community spread, not only in Lagos State, but in other parts of the country. That is why, of course, you're seeing the figures, rising exponentially in Kano State.
You're saying that you suspect, as a public health official, that you suspect that there's a community spread. What do you mean by community spread?
It means that the COVID-19 is closer to you than you can imagine.
Okay.
It is now widespread.
Okay.
When we say community spread, it is widespread. It's not something that you pick out somebody from the crowd to say, this person is having the symptom. Let's go do testing. And of course, it's something that Lagos state government did that was key. They've been going from house to house to look for people that have having upper respiratory symptoms, cough, difficulty in breathing, fever, shortness of breath, and all that, and they have them tested. Of course, that's why Lagos State, their values are increasing, because they don't wait for people to call them. And if you know what is telling them, people have the symptoms and they hide and they run away. So Lagos State is taking the bull by the horn. They go, they send their agents of government, medical experts to the households and ask questions. Are you coughing? Are you having fever? Are you having shortness of breath? They take their thermometers, these infrared thermometers, and they go to house to house, and they do these checks. Of course, Lagos is on a lockdown, so people are always within their neighborhood, so they don't go far. So you can always do that. So these are the issues.
Okay.
That's why the figures in Lagos are increasing. Of course, the more they do, the more they. We've not even started with our COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. That is the truth.
Wow, we've not. I want you to repeat that sentence, because it's something I think we need to hear. Well, what did you just say, Dr. Briggs?
I said for as long as COVID-19 is concerned in Nigeria, we have not even started. This is just the preliminary stages.
This is the ending of April 2020, and we've been on this thing for more than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, lockdown in parts of the country. You said we've not even started.
We've not started. We've not started. For Christ's sake, for a population of 200 million, and you've tested only 8,000. Out of the 8,000 you've tested, we're having 782 confirmed cases, 25 deaths. We have not started. Just today, we got information that a new case was confirmed positive in River State. And the Commissioner of Health, Professor Prince Uchike, came on while addressing the press. He told us how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
That the hotel owner Abuja came to Port Harcourt in his hotel. His manager was taking care of him. He died, and they took the corpse via a commercial taxi to the mortuary in the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. Afterwards, the manager ran away to the village. He would have gone through a public transport. He had contact with all the staffs of the hotel. The taxi man that they carried there, that conveyed the corpse to the mortuary, would have also passengers. Those dates would have also gone to their own families and all that. Can you imagine what we're talking about? The wife of the hotel owner had to call the state officials. They went to the hotel, looked for the hotel manager. They placed him to his village, and in his village, he's with his family people there, and they're taking care of him. Do you know how many persons those they would have contacted, and they've spread the virus to? So just one case. The last time we had a conversation, I said it just takes one stupid person for the virus to go like a wildfire. And I can tell you that in the case of in this index case now in River State, this new case in River State, the contact cannot be traced. They are looking for a way to get to the taxi man that conveyed the corpse. They've not still seen him. You know how many persons that man would have carried in his taxi? You know how many persons those passengers he has carried would have been exposed to, and they've spread in River State? We have not started. That is the truth. And I'm not trying to I'm saying it as a professional. We have not started.
This is, if you're watching us live on Facebook or YouTube, this is a really stark reminder and a wake-up call by our guest, Dr. BIEYE BRIGGS, who joins us live on the phone. He says we have not started. We have not started. It's quite a sad thing to hear. I mean, people were asking online, Dr. Briggs, about this new Rivers case. Okay, say una don't close border. How intake enter? And then someone reminded the person who was asking online that, of course, they said he came in February. Even with the closure of borders, people are able to enter. You know, you have to just pay some money to the security men. They will allow you. That's if you're not on the essential.
The borders are not short. Just, just take a trip. Just drive down to the borders at the Ogoni axis, the Oigbo axis, the Isiokpo axis, the Indiama axis. Go there and see what the security men are doing.
So
technically, the borders are not short. Technically, the borders are not short.
But I mean, what would you say about this, bearing in mind, the very strong stance of the River State government in this regard in the past few weeks?
In the past what?
Okay, I said, what would you say about this, bearing in mind the very strong stance of the River State government over, closure border, arresting people and all that in the past few weeks?
The governor I really want to commend the governor, really, because if you see the passion with which he's going headlong in the fight against COVID-19 in River State, you will see his dedication, you will see his commitment to preventing the virus from getting into River State. But of course, those who are working with him, especially security agencies, they don't understand the enormous problem we find ourselves and the need to prevent rather than containing the virus in River State. So because they don't understand. Before you deploy people for such an assignment, you must let them understand. They should have been properly educated. Probably they are doing that of ignorance. They don't know that they are also putting their lives at risk. They are putting the lives of their own family at risk. Opening the borders for people to come in. Yes, the essential. The borders have not been totally shut. They've allowed the essential supplies like food and other life-saving items to come in. But even so, those who must be put through the normal checks at the borders before they are allowed in. Apart from that, every other person should not be allowed to come in. Do you know people are still coming from Lagos? People are still coming from Abuja. And who know how they've been exposed to the virus. So we're not really safe.
Wow.
We are not really safe.
Okay, I would like to...
Let me also remind you what happened in Kano State. You know, Kano State at some point was also on a lockdown.
Yes.
Then the Governor Ganduje now relaxed the lockdown and allowed them to hold to mass services. That was the problem. They exploded. And okay, to keep exploding, we've been hearing, increase the number of burials in the cemeteries and all that in Kano State. Now he's calling for help.
And he's denying.
When medical doctors were advising him to not relax the restrictions in Kano. He said no, he wanted to be religious. He wanted to pray to the gallery. Now he has to the gallery. The effects are just beginning in Kano State, and he's already calling for help. Help from where?
And
you have the resources. You have the facilities.
And the Kano State governor was denying that there's a surge in burial rates and death rates. The number of people who died. He says it's not proven they have coronavirus. He just denied it. But like you said, he's asking for help. And the relatives are attributing the multiple deaths to malaria-related ailments.
Don't worry, now this is not an election. The results will be clear. We'll see it in the coming days and weeks.
Dr. Briggs, let me just go through the NCDC's press briefing for today and some of the things they said, because one or two things they said relate to this issue of testing. But if you're just joining us live on Facebook and live on YouTube, this is Late Night Talk with Kofi Bartels, and that's my name. My guest on the line, he joins me from somewhere in Port Harcourt, is Dr. BIEYE Briggs of the Ignatius Nigerian University of Education. He's a public health expert, and he's here as our guest this evening. We're asking you two questions. First, we had a journalist from Accra, Ghana, ATIWEIN MBILLAH, who is with STARR FM, who told us about the Ghanaian situation and what led to the government relaxing the lockdown order in Ghana. And of course, the fact that she said one thing that struck me was that not less than 80,000 people have been tested in Ghana. Of course, this doesn't mean they're all positive, but the tests that have been run have been done on not less than 80,000 people. Now, if you're following the international affairs and international events, you'd realize that testing is very important in the United States, in Germany, in UK, wherever. And so we're asking you this evening, based on the fact that Nigeria has tested and I'm just going to put the figure here so you see it on the screen. Nigeria has tested, you can see, just 8,934 samples so far. 8,934 samples so far. Our guest on the line is questioning the figure earlier released by the NCDC head, who said that they have the capacity in Nigeria to test 1,500 samples a day. And that if we were testing 1,500 samples a day, we definitely would have been having more than this 8,000 or whatever that we have right now. So we're asking you, as far as you're concerned, with this relatively low number of tests conducted in Nigeria, is this a brewing disaster? Are we sitting, like we normally say over here, on a keg of gunpowder? My guest, Dr. Briggs, says that we are just starting. As far as it's concerned, we are just starting. We've not even scratched the surface. We are just starting. What do you think about this right now? As far as testing is concerned, feel free to call. Or just drop your messages for now, because you can't call. The line is busy with our guests. So you can drop your messages. If you're watching on YouTube, please drop your message. If you're watching on Facebook, please drop your Briggs. Please permit me to go straight to that account, the transcript of the NCDC, of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 daily press conference today. One thing that struck me was what was said and about the increase in the figures in Lagos State. Because at a point, Dr. Briggs, the Lagos State Commissioner for Health said that there was no new coronavirus in 24 hours. This is Professor Abayomi. He said that yesterday, no new coronavirus case in 24 hours. And then that day, we had 59 popping up. 59 popping up. And so in the evening, when the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 was given its daily brief, they were asked, why do we have a spike all of a sudden in Lagos State? And what they said was that this spike, is because they ramped up testing in Lagos State. They ramped up testing in Lagos State. So does this mean that we're not having the true reflection because we're not testing enough people. I know you've said something about that already, but what would you say about this, this situation, especially as it concerns Lagos State? 24 hours, there was no positive test. And then the next day or that evening, they had a spike, 59 people.
The issue is that, sometimes our politicians are always in a hurry to score some cheap political points. They want to play to the gallery. Otherwise, knowing what is happening in Lagos State, that statement to saying that there was no case in 24 hours, was, for me, in my view, is hasty. It was very hasty. Otherwise, if the curve is already flattening, you see a plateau. You see a plateau. It won't just be a no case. No, it will be a reducing. It will plateau, then it will begin to decline. All right. So if for today you got 50 confirmed cases in Lagos, the next day you might see 49. The next day you might see 47. Then it will not get to 40, 35. And it starts declining. We are not yet there yet. We are still on that. Is if you're plotting a graph, we are still at that ascendancy level. We're not even started ascending well. When the effect wants to take off, it has not really started. It has not lifted, but it has started. It has. It's on the wrong way. It's moving. It has not even started. Taking off from the ground. That's the state we are in Lagos State. So. And you should recall that in Lagos State, the testing centers are different. Sometimes before they release the data, they usually collect the total number of cases confirmed before they release it to the public. So probably, there was a delay in accumulating the values on that day. That was why there was no case. Otherwise, what explains why in a day there was no case and the following day we have up to 59 cases.
Interesting. I would like to read a couple of messages, a few messages from Adoso watching right now. Emmanuel Idopise Peter says, how long will this lockdown continue in Nigeria? Please let the borders be open because hunger is knocking. Ogechuku Oduwa, okay, good evening to you. Thanks for joining in. Hussein Adams, good evening to you. Thanks as well. Mato Deborah, good evening to you, Mato. Thanks for joining in. Soki Prince Igoni, good evening. Thanks for joining us. And Pius Simbat says, border is a wrong word to use because the proper word is boundary. Please take note. I totally agree with you, Pius. I totally agree with you. Imahari says, we are in real trouble now in River State. Going by the Commissioner of Health's account of how the third COVID-19 victim came into Port Harcourt, everyone who had contact with these people should be tracked and be tested. Let us stop being ambivalent about this COVID-19 in River State. Prior to now, we've been, singing praises and hearing praises as far as River State is concerned. Some people have been doing untour to Lagos people. Some people from Rivers or who resided in River State who were in Lagos ran back to River State. They came back here so they could have some freedom to move. Do you see or foresee River State being one of the major centers in the country? When we talk about Nigeria, Dr. Briggs, of course, that we're talking about majorly Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and then Kano to an extent.
Yes.
Port Harcourt has the third most active international airport in Nigeria after Lagos and Abuja. We have a large oil and gas community in River State, expatriate community in River State, and the international airport was open for quite a long time. Do you foresee River State getting to the point of at least Abuja, not even Lagos, but let's say Abuja?
But
maybe getting
I just
20, 30, 40.
I just painted a picture for you of this particular case in point. And knowing that the borders are open, people are still coming from everywhere, including Lagos and Abuja, into River State. And most of them, they have been exposed to the virus. And they still come into River State. And they go about their normal lives as if nothing has happened. And there are other people that have symptoms and still, be in the house and hide it. But look at what happened in Akwa Ibom State. Akwa Ibom has overtaken River State right now. So we are going to have that kind of situation in River State. God forbid, a lot of people will say God forbid, but I'm giving an expert opinion. It will be worse. We are just starting here. It will be worse. Wow. Because there are people, who do not understand. There are still people in River State that do not believe that COVID-19 is real. There are still people that are not washing their hands. There are still people that are not obeying the respiratory etiquette, proper respiratory etiquette. There are people that still do not believe in social distancing. So there are still people that go about public places and do not wear their face mask and all that. Before NCDC did not advise that there should be random usage of a face mask. But last week, Saturday or so, they released a statement that said that they are advising all Nigerians to wear face mask. It's not compulsory, but it's advised. When they say it's not compulsory, it's advised. It's not compulsory because they don't want to create panic. But when they say they are advising you, you should just use your tongue to count your teeth and know that you just have to wear it whenever you're going outside. But there are people that are out there that do not believe it. So those are the kind of people that will even be very good vectors for the virus and spread it. And I've said it time and again that people can have this virus and be asymptomatic. They will not express any of the symptoms of COVID-19, and yet they go about spreading the virus. Those are the deadliest people, in fact. Those that are asymptomatic, that have contracted the virus and are showing no signs. Those are the people that are even more deadly. Those are the people that will even spread it far and wide. Because when somebody begins to show symptoms and you get the person coughs anyhow, you'll see the person having respiratory disease, the person having fever, you begin to run away from the person. Now, even the people close to this person who want to, stay far. Okay? The person wants to stay far. But those that have it and don't know that they have it, they are the good, very wonderful weapons that will spread it to people. They may not die of it, they may recover, but they may come in contact with people that will contract it and die.
These are
the issues. The River State case, I pray it doesn't get worse. That is, being religious, but professionally speaking, I know it will get worse.
Dr. Briggs, your fears, your pessimism, because you're not really optimistic about our fortunes as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Your fears seem to be shared by the governors of the 36 states in Nigeria, because breaking news just coming in right now indicates that Nigerian state governors have agreed to impose an interstate lockdown for 2 weeks in order to contain the COVID-19 spread. This is breaking news just coming in right now, that the state governors have agreed to impose an interstate lockdown for 2 weeks in order to contain the COVID-19 spread. The state governors reached agreement during a meeting of the Nigeria Governors Forum on Wednesday. That's today. And the state governors also called for the decentralization of the COVID-19 response, saying it is the best chance of curbing the community transmission, which is what you talked about,
exactly.
Dr. Briggs. The governors unanimously agreed to I don't know what they mean by interstate lockdown. I'm just trying to look at the story. It's just breaking news coming in now to see whether it means that you can't move from state to state, or each state has a lockdown. That's lockdown the whole country. But this is what they're saying, interstate lockdown. I think it means that you cannot move from state to state.
Exactly, from state to state, you can't move. Yeah.
Yes. So Daily Trust reports that a communique issued by the Nigeria Governors Forum chairman and governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, at the end of the virtual meeting said only essential services would be permitted through. What do you think about this, Dr. Briggs?
I think it's the right step in the right direction, but then they have said that the governors won't be the people that will man the boundaries of the states. Okay? It is the security agencies. So it's not enough, imposing interstate restriction of movement interstate. It's also important that the security agencies be properly briefed. And if anyone is found, going against the order issued by the state governors, they should be punished. They should serve as a deterrent, because right now humanity is fighting for survival. Everybody is fighting for survival. And you don't know who is going to be the next victim. You don't know you yourself if you will be the victim. You don't know if it's your loved one, if it's your child, if it's your wife, if it's your mother, if it's your brother, or your father that will be a victim. So everybody is, doing what he or she can. If we all do our little bit and be responsible for once, I think we're going to beat the virus. But when somebody decides to be irresponsible, what pains me is that it's not that your irresponsibility will become a victim of it. Someone else will become a victim of your irresponsibility. Like I say, if I'm doing everything I should do, like I'm doing, and somebody close to me is not doing enough, it doesn't puts me at risk.
So you have
all my carefulness becomes stupidity. It becomes nullity. And that's what we're saying. And I'm not trying to paint all these pictures. I've said before now coronavirus infection will be asymptomatic and will heal spontaneously.
Okay. Oh, that is something I'd like you to touch on as well, because
yes,
we usually hear,
I said that only 20% of those that will come down with COVID-19 will progress to the severe forms of the disease. The severe forms, even when they progress to severe forms, doesn't mean that it's only 20% that will die.
Okay.
Just a fraction of the 20% that will die.
Okay.
So it's not all bleak. Okay.
Okay.
This COVID-19 is a viral infection, and most viral infections are self-limiting. I can tell you for free that those that have been admitted for COVID-19, that have been tested positive for COVID-19 and have been sent to isolation centers, what they do for them basically is symptomatic treatment.
Symptomatic treatment.
It is symptomatic treatment. If you have fever, they give you drugs to calm down fever. If you have cough, they give you drugs to suppress cough. If you have difficulty in breathing, they put back oxygen mask to aid your respiration. If you have other underlying infections, they treat it. Basically. And those that will survive are those with a robust immunity and those who do not have underlying medical conditions like pulmonary tuberculosis, cancers, liver disease, kidney diseases, and all that. So
you're saying basically that if that's you. So you said the virus is self-limiting. What does that mean?
The self-limiting is that even without treatment, it can go on its own for as long as you don't have underlying medical conditions that I've listed: diabetes, hypertension, liver disease, cancer, pulmonary tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and all that. You are likely to survive.
So you're saying those who have this will be asymptomatic and they'll heal spontaneously, meaning that they will not even know they have it and the thing will just go and they will not even know they ever had it.
Yes, some people will have it and will never know that they even had it. They'll just heal.
Wow.
Only 20% will have the symptoms. Only 20%. So it's not all a big picture, but the point is that if someone close to you might have it and expose your mother or your father to it, and the person may be having hypertension or diabetes or tuberculosis or liver disease or cancer and cause the death of the next person. Yes. That's why I said that even in Lagos State that we believe there's been community spread, and even in Kano State as we speak, but we're not seeing the deaths as we saw in Italy, Spain, and we are seeing in the United States of America, because people may have just been asymptomatic.
Richard Quest of CNN announced that he tested positive for coronavirus. He just said, well, he just had a cough and that was it. He doesn't have any of the serious symptoms. And the gentleman, from what I can tell, is still presenting his program from his home.
Exactly. So it's not as dreadful as it is, but for Christ's sake, it's a novel thing. We don't know anything about it. When you're fighting an enemy you know little or nothing about, you better be careful.
But I mean, we've seen videos of people, needing ventilators to survive. Heard stories of limited ventilators in health centers in places like Italy, and then they had to give it to the younger person, and all that. So how come we're having people at home when they have this thing, they're positive, but they're at home? Because they're saying they're just coughing, that's all.
In Italy, in Europe, Italy has the largest population of elderly people. That explains why the death was massive in Italy. And all the people that have died in Nigeria, the 25 deaths we've recorded for COVID-19 in Nigeria, they all have underlying medical conditions.
Okay, every single one of them?
Every single one of them have the history of underlying medical conditions.
Okay. So it means that we probably don't have too much to be afraid of then.
I can't say that. We have everything to be afraid.
Remember our talk on about Lassa fever. It means that we probably should be afraid of, because if you can have this virus and not know you have it, and then you'll be cured, and then you never even know you had it and you were cured, spontaneously, like you said, then maybe we should just go about maybe that's why Donald Trump is in a hurry to open the American economy. Maybe we're just overreacting.
No, we're not overreacting, because there is always light at the end of the tunnel anyway. As of today, I heard that a vaccine candidate has started human trials and all that, and that they believe that it's 80% going to be 80% successful in treating COVID-19. So it's not all bleak. No, there's a glimmer of hope. So, but then before we get to the end of the tunnel. Let us do everything we can to stay safe and alive. And I think if everybody does a little bit, we will overcome this challenge and get to the other side of the shore.
Okay. Total confirmed cases 7 here. Nigeria has not fared too well on the testing table. As far as NCDC statistics go, 8,934 tests samples have been tested. But Dr. Briggs, when this statistic was released yesterday, was it today? They said that out of this 8,934 samples that had been tested, 347 were tested in the last 24 hours. Could it be that more of those who are being traced are in a particular part of the country, and there's only one or two or one testing facility for them to use, laboratory to use, compared to other parts of the country? That's why the 1,500 per day may not be realistic. If, for instance, you have one testing center in Lagos, I'm just citing that as an example.
In Lagos, they have two centers in Lagos.
So we have 2 centers in Lagos. Is it possible that these 2 centers are not enough for the testing?
They're not enough. Lagos is about over 10 million people, I heard so, population-wise.
Yeah.
So two centers cannot be enough.
Okay, so the one five.
Look at what Ghana is doing.
Yeah.
Look at what Ghana is doing. They're using drones.
Yeah.
And I'm aware. I've been aware in the past 2 or 3 years. Ghana have been using drones to supply blood to remote areas of Ghana to aid, surgeries and all that. People need blood services. It's very quick. In the next, if a surgery is booked and they need blood, they just by drone. If they go by road, maybe to take 3-4 hours. By drone, in 30 minutes to 1 hour, it arrives at the hospital, and the patient comes in time in a good time for the patient to go in for the surgery. And it's been used to save lives. That's why they now use the drone to be supplying testing kits to remote areas of Ghana with a view to increasing testing capacity.
Okay.
That has not been done in Nigeria.
Okay.
The testing has been centralized, like as Kano is. Kano is almost the same in terms of population with Lagos State. So at least in Kano we should have like about 10 to 15 testing centers. Honestly speaking. So also in River State, the commercial nerve centers. It shocks me that Lagos State is a cosmopolitan city.
Yeah.
So is Abuja. The next is Port Harcourt. And Lagos and Abuja, figures have been going up, and Port Harcourt is recording 1, 2, 3 cases. It's not surprising. It's surprising because we're not testing in Port Harcourt. We don't have a testing center in Port Harcourt.
So we have people moving around. Yeah, so we have people moving around, and they're carrying this thing, and we're not testing them. But Dr. Briggs, the question I was asking was this: maybe the reason we have fewer tests is because we have a spread of, before it was 3, I think now we're up to, I don't know how many we have now, test centers in the country, but majority of those who are being brought for testing are in Lagos. So maybe it's possible that we have idle testing or underutilized testing centers in other parts of the country, like we do have in. That's why we can't meet up the 1.5.
Like I told you that these testing kits and testing reagents are in high global demand. Every country needs it. So if Nigeria has, they are likely to apportion to areas of the country that the problem seems to be escalating. So they cannot share it evenly to say, okay, we have 10,000 testing kits. We are going to be giving every state 1,000 or 300. Whereas the problem, we are seeing much of the problem in Lagos, Abuja, and Kano right now. Okay? So I know we have in Abakaliki, and I don't know if the same policy is being applicable to all states. Like in other parts of the country, apart from Lagos, that they are going from house to house to look for cases and test. In other parts of the country, what they do is, if there's a confirmed case, they just do a contact tracing.
Okay.
If there's a suspected case, they do a contact tracing, and when the index case for which they are tracing contacts turns out negative, they don't test the rest of the people he has contacted. But if it's positive, they begin to isolate, quarantine them. After 2 weeks, they send their sample for testing and all that. If they don't do like that, honestly, the resources will dry out in no time.
Dr. Briggs, you talked about Kano. and the importance of of Kano, the size of Kano and all that, and of course this recent surge in Kano State. No thanks to the decision of the state government there. And I do know that you're aware from our previous discussion off air before we came on air, that Kano Center, the COVID-19 test laboratory center of the NCDC in Kano has suspended operations. We're told that the director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital disclosed today that the center had been suspended. We also told that the center had run out of test kits such as reagents. Dr. Briggs.
Like I said, the testing centers are specialized laboratories. We call them reference lab or molecular laboratories.
Okay.
And before I came on, I made a few research, and I discovered that the DG of the NCDC, just like he visited River State about 2 or 3 days ago, he also visited Kano State yesterday.
Okay.
And I think probably when he would have inspected the facilities, and probably they didn't meet the standard set by NCDC for establishment of such a laboratory. Probably that was why they shut it down. Or because it's not giving a reason why they shut it down anyway. Or probably they're having technical issues in terms of the reagents or the testing kits, as it were. But I believe that whatever the issues are, it will be resolved in no time so that testing can commence in Kano State.
All right. So you're thinking it's more than just shortage of reagents? Because they tested 44 people yesterday, but they only had 40 reagents enough for 40 people. This
maybe now that the number of cases in Kano State is rising exponentially, probably more allocations